be in violation. Ooh. All right, Francis.
Patty?
I'll adjust it if Alexis comes. Make sure everyone's visible.
I misplaced my second page of my agenda. Do you have it?
Yeah.
I got the first page of it. Oh, you're in off without second page.
Yeah, it's front and back. Do you need minutes as well?
I just, all I did was print out the first page of the minutes.
Well, that's
I
got-
read them.
Both on one, yeah.
I read them. If we need, if need be, if somebody has something to bring up, we'll deal with that.
It's the things that Chris was going to talk about last meeting are in the minutes. Since he wasn't able to make the last meeting, he had sent out an email with his updates on
Chris will
the.
not be here tonight.
I don't know if he will.
I
But
see.
last month he didn't make it, so he sent an email with his updates on the Clausen House, and we put them
Yeah, and
into
I was at the
minutes.
meeting when they were discussing all this stuff.
Oh, look
What
at
it's
that.
worth.
We're stuck. Hate when that happens. Now we've got an extra, and if somebody else needs it.
I think we're, yeah, for the township committee, they have no minutes and no agendas out, we come to it. That's a whole nother issue.
There's Paul. Hello, Paul.
Got a dot on your head.
Hello, everybody.
We can hear you.
Thanks for letting me patch in remotely. I'm in Vineland this week.
Okay. Is this kind of a vacation?
Vacation was last week. I'm visiting mom this week. Yeah. Yeah. How are you guys?
Good.
We're good.
Good.
Not able to be here. He has a virus.
I'm sorry. Who does?
John, our fearless leader.
Does he have the virus?
We haven't ruled it in or out at this point,
Oh boy.
but he's wise enough that when he's not well, not to visit it upon us.
That's very considerate of him.
Right.
Left 15 seconds early.
Fire.
So we're going to have the doctor pay.
To us.
The
Give them any
0.3
ideas.
cents.
So I'm chairing the meeting, Paul,
Okay.
and we do have a quorum. You, Francis, and you and I constitute a quorum. So we can call the meeting to order at this point.
Call the Historic Preservation Committee meeting to order at 7:30 p.m. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is a regularly scheduled meeting pursuant to the annual meeting notice published in the January 28, 2021 issue of the Hunterdon County Democrat. A copy of the agenda was forwarded to the Hunterdon County Democrat, filed in the Township Clerk's office, posted on the bulletin board and Township website on August 13, 2021. Alexis Antricoli, not here. Francis Gavigan,
Present.
Will Harrison,
Here,
Chris Sobieski, not here. Paul Sturchill,
Here.
Peg Sullivan, John Saramba, and me. The flag salute.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of
The United States of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. We have to change that indivisible phrase. We're nothing but devised.
There are other changes some people would like to see made, but we're not going to let them. All right, thank you, Renee. Is there any comments or changes to the agenda at this point?
I would just add, oh no, it's on there. The van is backward. Nope.
Okay, we're good. If you think of something before we adjourn, we'll entertain that as well. Moving on to.
I move we open to the public.
Second.
No public. All in favor, right?
Okay, we have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I move we close to the public because there is no public.
I second.
Seconded to close. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, we've got taken care of that. The minutes. Could we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Well, it would have to be either you or me, and because
See,
Paul wasn't here.
Were you here?
No, he's
Yeah, I
absent.
missed the last meeting. I would have to abstain.
Well, you can make a motion. I'll
All
second
right,
it.
I'm except with some minor changes.
So we'll do that after we move.
Okay. I move we. Hey,
All
hey.
right,
Are you
Alexis.
running the show tonight, Francis?
No, he is.
Oh,
The vice chair is.
how's it going?
It's going. Now, did you move
I
the
move
minutes?
we
Yo.
do the minutes.
Okay.
We have a
Okay.
quorum.
Hey,
Chris.
yes, we have, it doesn't take
Were
much.
you here? You were here last month.
So
I
I'm gonna
was.
go down there.
So
You
you
can
can
be the
second the
dad.
motion to approve.
Okay, I second the motion.
Okay,
Give me
the
the castle.
motion to approve the minutes has been made and seconded. Now is the time for discussion.
Okay, there's inconsistency in the spelling of my name.
Oh,
On
sorry
more
about that.
occasions than not, I'm given a sex change, but when it comes time to adjourn, it is ES. The easy way to remember whether it's Francis with an I or an E is E is for estrogen, I is for idiocy. You draw your own conclusions as to which gender.
I apologize about that.
No,
That's
yeah, well,
Are there any other,
so in the township.
are there any other comments or corrections on the minutes?
really, no, very good job as usual.
Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, respond aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The minutes have been approved as presented. Okay,
And amended.
as amended. Unfinished business. So what do we have from the East Amwell Historical Society?
Okay, it's reopening on September 11th, 2021. There is work going on to rearrange basement furniture, things like that. We need to go, or I'll pay for it, but need somebody with the measurements to go buy the dark out shades and the film if we don't have enough to treat the windows for the upstairs and around so that the contents of the museum can be properly shielded from the light. And Rich Catanacci had previously approved $500, and that should be something that is easily covered. Home Depot would have at least the land, the things. There are, just trying to remember, I keep getting asked doing things. There was a recommendation. I had asked the township committee and was met with silence about coming up with something about an honorarium or
I
payment or
responded, yeah.
something. You responded, but
Yeah.
it was dead silence from the other four.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but Mary Ellen suggested to Rich Catanacci that the society consider giving some sort of honorarium or stipend and membership lifetime membership to Lauren for all that she has done. And it was received positively. So she will not only have another member, but she'll be getting $1,000. And various other people are chipping in and giving other, foldable gifts. So if
This
anybody-
does not affect the township. It's
No,
only the
no,
society.
it's only the society because the township,
Has no money.
it has money, but there's money in our budget. And if John was here, it would have been possibly discussed because I guess there was money back in our budget. But that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
There were issues with Clausen House that I shared with Alexis and also with Chris and with the township committee last week about the windows in the Clausen House. You cannot open them. That the mold and the must from the basement comes up and triggers my asthma, as was observed by others, and that being a health and safety issue. Hopefully the township will address, as well as the standing water that was observed and that I have a photograph of in the basement and the daylight through the, there are things that need to be done in Clausen House there's all sorts of stuff was sort of randomly put in the basement and mixed, everything from signage to steam, things to just all sorts of stuff. But there is a water and other problem. I'll leave it to Chris to talk about whatever's going to go on with getting a roof. But they are still planning on having the opening on September 11th.
And what's going on in the basement? Is the dehumidifier?
The dehumidifier was not set up properly and it was not working. But given the water stains that were cascading down the stairs from the Bilko doors that someone of my height could look at and see daylight outside, it's not watertight and it comes down, hits the floor and spread all the way over. And there was a lot of musty and mildewy kind of things. And also there's a smaller leak that's in the back corner under the bathroom toilet. So there's.
So the sump pump is not the proper place to.
No, the
take care of the water.
dehumidifier, well, when you have, there's grading issues, there's the Bilko doors, there's all sorts of stuff, and just looking at it, which I think you could testify as to what the response of our road crew was, there's always water in the basement. So you can't put squat in the basement, and there's some really nice stuff that's been kept down there and is deteriorated. Now, where it's going to go or what can be done with it, that becomes interesting.
I think we should do everything we can to reduce the moisture, including the Bilko door, and make sure that dehumidifier is large enough to do the job if it's working properly.
I think they fixed it.
They fixed it or put it in, but it was hidden behind the giant radiators that were in the back corner.
Great place for it.
And yeah, I mean, it's just, I did bring all of this along with the windows up at the township committee meeting and the need to do stuff, except for Chris. Essentially, there was an underwhelming response, which is not surprising, but, especially in the time of COVID, it would be really important to be able to have ventilation in an indoor museum. And the windows that were put in there, normally you look at a window and it's got like a little ledge around it that you lift, you pull up. These windows don't even have that. So it's.
The air conditioner should do the job.
Well, I should be 6 foot tall, 130
Well,
pounds,
no.
but it isn't going to happen.
We're not going to try to correct that at this point.
Not too far gone, Francis.
You're just right. God made you just right, don't worry.
I
But
think there'd be some argument about
but
that.
the air conditioner has been on all summer.
Yes, but the stairs and the doors frequently either neither closed or not tightly closed. You know, goes up the stairs. There's so much moisture that has been down there and growing down
Are you
there.
talking about the basement?
The basement,
No,
and it
let's-
comes up the stairs, and I was sitting in the kitchen and it was moldy in there. I got asthmatic bronchitis.
We're talking, all right, that's a separate issue. You're talking about opening the windows upstairs, that's an issue.
Anywhere, yeah.
But if the air conditioner is working properly upstairs, you don't need to open the windows. That's the whole idea of the museum. Keep the environment under.
Right, but it's not up to the task of dealing with the amount of moisture that I photographed.
So I
in the
understand. Now we're
business.
talking about the basement and the dehumidifier in the basement.
Excuse me. Come on. Hello, Mary Ellen. I'm in the Historical Society, Commission committee meeting. Is there anything you wanted to say, or can I talk to you later? If not, whatever.
Let's try to get the dehumidifier working in the basement.
They have it working, whether it is adequate or not, based on at least what I could see down there, smell down there, and wheeze down there. It's not been adequate or on for months. if
Well,
not
you can
years.
tell if it's on because the motor's running.
It's a little hard when it's hidden behind radiators that are almost as tall as I am.
Still got it here.
Even, you know, you're familiar with moisture diffusion.
Yeah.
Doesn't need water, air circulation to properly extract moisture.
Yeah, I run a dehumidifier in my basement.
Mary Ellen, I'm
I have
reading.
mine in
Is
one
there
end of my
something-
basement. It
Covers the whole place.
dehumidifies the entire basement.
I'll call you back
So,
when I'm done.
That's why I'm asking whether it's,
Bye.
if it's functioning and actually extracting.
I mean, it could be a combination of maybe where it's placed and perhaps with the doors having the, you know, the gaps in them and the leaks, maybe it's because
Well, the
there's too much
Bilko
air
door-
coming in.
Bilko door comes down, which is on that side. It hits a pipe that goes across the floor, goes under the pipe and almost to the stairwell, and then runs right over to that corner.
Well, that's a problem.
And there's this sort of arm, no, it's
You
not
can't ask the
optimally
dehumidifier.
installed.
To compensate for all the water leaking in. If it's just the ambient humidity from outside come, you know, the peaks. in,
Yeah.
The dehumidifier should be able to handle that. I have one in my basement.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
gonna fix the,
It's not gonna, but
it's not gonna fix the leaks.
That's,
and it's been a long-standing problem because there were two lovely bird prints down there that I photographed and took upstairs. And the wooden frames and the others are old, covered in mold or must
Oh,
or something. And they're essentially ruined. This, you can see the shiny wet.
oh, I believe you.
Well,
Nobody here
some
doubts you,
people didn't.
Francis. Nobody here doubts you.
Well, you're
This
not
is-
elected to anything, are you? And you can see the nice little barrier that, for God knows,
You got elected as vice chair, come on.
no, I'm talking about and all that stuff. And actually, I
Hey,
need.
we're trying to solve problems here, Francis.
Well, if there's no will to solve a problem, and I can't tell you how many times I have mentioned water in the basement to our road supervisor, who has blown it off. What was he in the building? 5 minutes that day?
I wasn't there when.
Oh, Lauren was there or something, because I got there, maybe it was Mary Ellen.
The question before us then, Francis, and all of you, is do we have any clout? Is it something we can do
Yeah.
about this?
I was just gonna suggest, my suggested course of action. If you can get me a list of everything that needs to be done and cost estimates and priorities of what, you know, what needs to get done first, last, et cetera. I don't know what we can do for this year, but at least I could try to next year, put, you know, maybe take money out of the capital budget, because I would assume for all capital upgrades being that it's township property.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't guarantee anything, but I mean, that's the only way forward I see, at least at this point in time.
Sometimes
I mean, look, if it-
replacing the Bilko door with a modern might solve it. Maybe it would be more expeditious just to frame up a little wall at
Yeah.
the bottom of the basement Bilko stairs.
Yeah.
Just to put a hermetically modern door in there
Mhm.
that would still could be used as an emergency exit.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you have a door down there, everything else up, one's upstairs. So the one-
And the bill, if we're spending time in the basement.
Yeah.
The Bilko door should have a latch on that locks the outside, but allows someone inside to
Together.
escape. So right now we cannot really,
What is there, a bolt lock on the outside or something?
yeah, it's a panel.
Is it on the outlet?
No, that's not great.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, well, duh, I've got a bolt.
Did I hear a
coming for that.
resonance around the table?
If it's stupid, it happens in New Jersey.
Let's just deal with what we've got and see how it needs to be improved.
Yeah.
Now, one person can go down there, but if there ever was an emergency, that person only has one escape route.
Yeah.
Now, if you have more than one or two or three, then it's a public gathering.
Yeah.
And we're in violation.
Yeah.
You must have egress.
Okay.
And that Bilko door was built for a farmhouse.
not a museum. Or any other
Now,
publicly functioning building.
what you could do is unlock the Bilko door
I'll just cut the
and
chain off.
put a modern door at the base inside.
Yeah.
That we would have that feature, but you could not be locked in.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you'd have, it might cost $1,000 by the time you frame it all out.
How expensive materials.
But that we really have to, this is what is.
Yeah.
And that might help to solve the water problem. That must be solved. You cannot have water leaking into a museum basement.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, at least in the short term, maybe I could get in there, one of those caulking guns and try to put this holes in. I don't know how much good that's gonna do, but
I mean, hello, you could play I Spy. And, I will fall over backwards to do things,
yeah,
but I really resent when the head of our road and who has responsibility for the building is too busy to do anything or to do such a thing as a repair, whether it's a toilet or this. And Alexis and I and Lauren have to come over here to this building and load all the quick collection stuff, schlep it up the stairs. They did the bulk of the work, put it into my truck, take it over there and schlep it in and up, which they did the work again. I provided the transport because they're too billed. Friday is the day that he does stuff. I'm sorry, who works for the township? Jason or the township? And I'm not,
I think we got it, Francis. Let's talk about,
well, come
Well,
up
we
with,
can do
I'm
that
not doing it.
let's see what we can do to. The township committee is the boss
Yeah.
of
understood.
Jason
I'll
and
try to
everyone
talk to
else.
them tomorrow. Or
So
see what's going on.
Jason has to be provided the resources.
So that might be what it is.
Or the
So-
will.
Well, if he can't pay for the stuff he needs,
If you keep asking Jason, you're piling on work and all these guys are busy 40 hours a week, then that's me to say, well, does he have the resources? Is it just Jason's stubbornness? That's not on paper.
Well, he was unwilling to provide, they were
You're asking
unwilling
you a legitimate question.
to provide the labor to get that flat file that still needs to get over there out of this building basement, up the stairs and put into the back of my truck where it could go to Clausen to get in there and then whatever.
I've been telling
Some
you,
people don't want that flat file over there, but that's, I don't want.
So anyway,
if Francis, if you need anything moving, I've been volunteering for months here. Give me a call
Well,
on
I
Saturday.
tried, we tried to see it,
Francis brings up a lot of good points.
Yes.
and they get blown
But-
off and I'm
but-
pissed
but-
on
but
that.
It's not all on you to worry about. We need to try to find fixes.
Look, like I said, we gotta get cost estimates. I gotta get a list of everything that's messed up, at least.
Well, the Clausen House, it comes out of phosphate funds because it's Green Acres money
Really?
that has that park. That's where all the money came from and where the funding to do this stuff can come from.
You sure you can't take anything out of capital? I would think. 'Cause
You don't have to, but you can take it out of the Green Acres,
we should.
phosphate open space. It's not like they have meetings or anything.
Moving on, is there anything else, Francis, that you need to share with us about the museum? You've been very succinct thus far.
Let's just say there's one kitchen and lots of chefs, all with strong opinions about what others should do. And when you have people pulling in multiple directions, you find yourself usually going in a circular direction, similar to what circles a drain. And that's the norm. But, they're gonna open it. All things are positive. There's money going to give to Lauren for all the work that she has done. And I've been asked to work with you on getting together a resolution that the township committee can at least
Yeah.
sign.
Was everyone cool with that?
Yeah.
With us doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes,
The token gesture, but that's better than nothing, I suppose. And let me know when.
we don't need a motion for that. A
No,
consensus
that's,
would do.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's. Speaking of.
Will?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm just gonna say, when you get the collection going, or let me know. I'll chip in a little bit, so,
Yeah. Would you pay?
next week.
Paul, did you have something else you wanted to share?
Just hopefully a quick question about the Historical Society, Francis. I saw that there was a communication that came out for membership drive, which I haven't gotten around to, but I intend. I'm just wondering how the response has been to that.
Oh, no, there'll be a meeting on the 26th and I will ask. It's on the website and things like that. And there has been some interest by some people, but I'm
Good.
not the person who's handling that. I think Hank Patnachi is. So,
Okay,
So
thank
Frank,
you.
you take it to the society. I think this committee is pretty much in agreement that we'd like to see the improvements in the basement. This may not have to move mountains to do this, but let's do it right. And make sure it may not be as dry as upstairs, but a dehumidifier working properly.
Yeah. Maybe
Can
just need to
really
get a
make a
second one in there or
difference.
something, maybe just two will do the job.
You set the thermostat to whatever level you want. And it should run until it reaches that level of humidity.
Exactly. So, just gotta get somebody in there to go. I don't know, the one I have is from like the 80s, and don't ask me how I got this thing, but you have to like empty a bucket like every few
Well, this one
hours.
has a hose on it.
Oh, so it's already pumped
Goes
out.
right
Okay.
into the sump
I was gonna
pump.
say it would some people.
No.
That would be crazy.
but I thought there some discussion at the meeting last week about having an alarm so when the power goes off. One thing that has not been happening, because we don't have any idea as to how long this thing's not been working. There seems to be a mixed message about how the Historical Society is supposed to be running around doing physical checks of things and what is and isn't versus running a society versus, the township and the crew. They've got a camera. They need to put one of his cameras in the basement.
Well, when the museum is up and running, there is a person responsible. There will be other volunteers. But there's somebody responsible every day. So that person could run down to the basement and just make sure that the humidifiers work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if it's humid and musty, you don't have to be a scientist to understand something's not right. Report it.
Yeah.
That way, at least periodically, somebody goes to the basement. No crowd, because we don't have the safety door yet.
Yeah, that's. Before we move on, I had a couple things I just wanted to bring up on this. Actually, just one thing. The township committee approved Stony, Oregon, so that's good to go. I emailed Rich and Mary Ellen about it, like right before.
You're gonna cut a hole in the floor?
We're gonna cut the hole.
Or open one of the holes that's already there.
Well, in fact, they got permission to install it, no matter, whatever it takes, so whenever they want to get on that, more than welcome, so. That's all I got.
Can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I wish I knew how, and I could go do
Well,
that.
if it gets
I will
done
give you
before
a
dawn.
concert.
Yeah.
I can play Ode to Joy.
Well, that's a good one.
I play Silent Night.
We'll,
Very had little land. I'm pretty good at that. Anyway, anything else before we move on? That took care of the Historical Society and the museum.
Mhm.
And how about the quick collection? I guess you already reported that Lauren is pretty much done.
She's finishing
She
up,
is.
and Alexis is.
Yes, she will be finished this coming Friday. And with both the quick collection and the Larison papers, which came with the quick collection, but are really a separate collection. And there will be what archivists call finding aids, essentially guides to what's in the collection that allow people to find what they're looking for. I wrote up some basic guidelines that I shared with Francis, Kathy, and Mary Ellen about how to handle the collection and care for it going forward, and to make sure that people use appropriate care and handling methods when they're using
You sign in and out.
the materials, sign in and out, so you don't lose stuff. That would be bad. So anyway, the collection has basically been totally rehoused, described. It's going to go into Past Perfect. There are going to be Word and PDF files of the finding aid that you could put online for people to see, and we'll have printouts of them. I'm trying to think of anything. Lauren's done a fantastic job. I'm really glad that the Historical Society came up with some money, because the work that she did is, has been exceptional work. And I think that, if, when John is here, if this committee could also pitch in a token amount, like $250, that would be great. Historical collections are not free to manage, and I think that that's important to keep in mind, that it costs money to appropriately care for these materials, and that if the township wants to continue to do this, that they should keep in mind that there is a cost to it.
Mike,
So that's what I would say. And I'm just delighted when I go in there and I see the quick collection and people can use it and find out and do research. And I mean, school kids could use it now for, like, you could have classes come to the museum. Like, it makes me happy because I think it's a valuable resource. For the
will there
community.
be a console at the desk where the guy that opens the museum,
Mhm.
where he sits?
Mhm.
Could there be a console there? Or does one have to go upstairs to the office to
To use the
access,
collection?
to access this? In other words, this is whole designed to be open to the public. If it isn't open to the public,
Yeah, I
It's-
mean, you could absolutely choose to do that. You could
just Wi-Fi, you could just have a terminal
Yeah,
downstairs.
Alexis, is it like in a Word document, or is it?
yeah,
some
it could
kind of
just,
like-
we'll give you a Word
format?
document and a
Yeah.
PDF.
Yeah.
Right, so
Send it
like,
to me
we'll
and I'll
also
put it on
print
the
it out.
website.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. make
We'll
it
also
on the
print it
website.
out, and like, then people can come in, like, people can either look at it on paper, or they can use the electronic version. And they can come in and look at it, and you can decide where, and then what'll be easy about it is people will be able to say, like, oh, I want to see the photos in, box 3, folder 2, and you can just bring them box 3.
Are all the pictures scanned electronically?
No,
No, that would be a whole different
that's a
project.
whole nother summer project. On this one,
That would be a goal, a worthy goal.
Yes, but now the nice thing is that you have control of the collection. Doing that is more like, that's actually achievable now. Because you have control of the collection.
I can't wait to sniff around and see what
Yeah.
it's like.
And it's also gonna, so you could have like a printout downstairs and you could put the inventories on the website for people to look at. And I would say like another project, Lauren's also gonna actually produce a report with just some recommendations about next steps or other things people could do. It's like having people, you know, in the historical society and who know the town more about the township's history, like identify people in photos. Like she and I couldn't do that.
In hindsight, and I never thought of this up front either. We should have had a ground level office. Included when
And
we
an
put,
elevator. or stair-
well,
One thing at a time.
when we put the
Look at
kitchen
that.
on and the bathrooms, that we should have made it bigger and had an office. Therefore, then the upstairs room where the offices could be used for museum purposes. Right now, we're stuck. We're not gonna, that's not gonna change
So
anytime
you got that big build down there, you can't do that otherwise.
we're kind of boxed in,
Yeah.
trying to save money. But it would have been nice to have the office on the ground level where the public could access it easily. Going up and down those stairs, at my age, I think about it I go up and down very carefully. Someday, somebody's gonna fall down those stairs. I just hope I'm not the one.
Oh,
You've
I've
been
come
over
close
there,
to
you know,
that.
they're 200-year-old stairs.
Yeah.
And they're not exactly up to code. But we're thinking about having people come in, they're interested in something historical. And our office is upstairs, and everybody's gonna have to go upstairs in the office. And we really don't want a lot of public where we have stuff stored.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that
mean-
goes back to the other thing is that there essentially is no security on the quick collection or the upstairs. For an aesthetic reason, there was a kind of a silly little lock put up on the office, but then there's another door. And the door to the archive has no lock or security. So, you know, if somebody's downstairs talking to somebody, all somebody has to do is go upstairs and get whatever they want.
Well,
And that along with
if
the
they're
bill
as
door.
bewildered as I am, they're not gonna run off as much. You go, you know, it's stuff everywhere. And it's not, you know, it isn't like, I want to steal a picture of the location where John Ringo's Tavern was.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I don't know.
You never know, you might get like.
We're not gonna get ripped off. very
No,
often.
but it is irresponsible to not have that archive room secured.
We could put an electronic lock on it, just
You
like.
could
the
do
strip
that or
mall.
whatever, but again, that
Throw
was
that in,
something
$5 a month.
that,
Electronic?
No, you just gotta, I was saying just a padlock or something, you just
No, electronic lock
do that.
for
So you-
everybody. to
I've
use.
got one and a code, and I have one I would donate, but the problem was there was an aesthetic issue when this has been discussed before. Like in the multiple books,
can't have it.
And getting robbed is not very aesthetic either.
having somebody, yeah, it's.
I mean, and I think it's fun, like if there's someone, it's easier for someone to use stuff downstairs and you have a place where they can sit and use it. Bring boxes downstairs. to people. Like, you don't have to be super formal about it. It's a small collection.
It would be nice if like the basement was finished. Well, if you could even
Oh,
finish
that
the
could
basement.
Yeah, you can't,
You
yeah. it would
cannot
be-
use it to hide amongst other kinds of
Francis,
things.
you could put that.
I am, yes, and I said so at last week's meeting. I can stand underneath the vent.
All right,
There are also, we decided not to keep the newspapers in the collection, and I think, you know,
Whirlwind.
people are talking about giving them away to people who might want copies.
Talking about the ones that are 100 and 200-year-old newspapers.
Yeah, the ones we talked about that are just like, that are available
And they're
elsewhere.
falling
That
apart.
are falling apart, yeah. Mary Ellen doesn't, she wants to give them away.
Are there any World War II kind of century? ones in there? Just curious. I got a little.
You know,
worried.
there might be.
World War
There
One.
might be. I haven't. I mean, Lauren's the one who went through them all.
Okay.
She would know more.
Right.
But
So
there are a lot of. I think there's probably more likely to be World War One stuff.
That's cool. That's cool too.
So it's mostly like late 19th, early 20th century, I think.
Right.
But there might be some like 1940s stuff in there.
I'm a big World War II guy.
And there's certainly content in the collection from that period.
Okay.
Okay, shall we
That's
move
cool,
along? Is there, the quick collection kind of spread out to include other things
Yeah.
that are in the collection, and that's fine.
The long and short of it is it's gonna be done this week. There will be guides to the collection and suggestions for things you can do going forward, and people are gonna be able to use it.
Are you likely to be our go-to person if we need a little technical expertise here?
Sure, you can call on.
Okay. Everybody heard that.
It's on the record.
Did that meet you, Paul? Alexis is going to be our go-to technical person.
Expert on this stuff.
Okay, let's move on. We have Marilyn Cummings in the historic bridge
Yeah,
certification.
Marilyn Cummings can basically, I would think that could drop because there's been the historic bridge certification. I did walk that bridge and the need to do something like that with Tom Matthews last week. You know, about that shared bridge. And what needs to be done, but again, it becomes something that it would need somebody who would want to champion it and to do it, and Marilyn wanted us to do it, but I'm kind of out of bandwidth and attitude with. So, yes, it would be nice, but what I mostly talked about with Tom Matthews was the need to fix it because of the way it's been patched with cement, pipes deteriorating and all that other stuff.
And Matthews is the county.
He's the
bridge-
county road guy.
Okay, so
County engineer.
So
County
what
engineer.
are their plans right now? What do they say they're going to do?
It would, well, I had been told by a freeholder it was on the list. That was not on the list that Tom Matthews was aware of. But when I give him the wherewithal, I went through all the pictures with him and showed him all the stuff where, you know, rocks are falling out, cement, plastic pipe, and the deterioration underneath. It does need to have a significant rehab before it falls
Which bridge
down.
is this?
This is down
Found station.
Found Station
Oh,
Road.
okay.
At that one side of the road is Delaware Township. This side of the road is East Amwell. Delaware has it on an historic list. East Amwell doesn't. It's
You're
been
talking
much
about-
better. than
It
bridge.
is, yeah. You're right. I'm sorry.
And
Didn't mean
it's
to
much
interrupt.
better maintained by Delaware Township than has been happened at East Amwell. It was just like, there was no logic about it, but I will follow up with that with Tom.
It's not unsafe. It's just aesthetically.
It could go. It's not immediately going to go. There's parts and bits and pieces that have fallen out.
But the main structure.
No,
Still holds up.
it's not going to collapse, especially since the half that Delaware is maintained has a proper culvert lining and all that other stuff. Stand on the side, it's just
Well,
rock and roll.
Isn't that a county responsibility?
It's a county responsibility, but just like a lot of other things, things have gotten lost in the weeds for decades, and it's only recently, the last 15, 20 years, that there has been a little bit more willingness on the county's part. Well, it's coming on 20 years. That they've been willing to meet and discuss and work with the township.
So you are.
I will
You're gonna
follow up
follow
on
up
that,
and-
but I'm not doing the bridge certification. That could be for somebody else.
Well, the whole idea is to get the county on board because they're the ones that would do this.
They would do the work. I explained that Marilyn said that it had to be done by a certain kind of a mason. And she had the name of a mason and she had a whole like to-do list of things that we/I should do. And that didn't happen this year. And, you know,
Is there something that this committee should,
this committee
do?
can adopt that and it can do it and get the historic stuff. And I'll put them in touch if somebody wants to do it with Marilyn and they can go forth and do all the schlep work. I'll work
This
on,
bridge?
there was a stone in it, I think 1838. It goes with, it's way back.
So it's almost 200 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, and it's not far from the railroad. It's a nice bridge and half of it's a lot nicer than half of it. It may not be that big a deal to get it certification, but
I don't think that the date is important to what we want to accomplish. It's nice to know, but
Yeah, I was just
Well-
curious.
well, and there's a mill there that's at, oh, what is the guy's name? They live there. It was a working mill at one point and spillways and different things like that, that there are,
that was the location of the station too.
yeah, Bone Station and different things like that.
Dr. Bound had his office there. I don't know any more than that.
Yeah,
That's how
well,
the name stuck. It was called Bound.
Bone
Bound
Station
Station.
Road.
Janice told me that that little white building was where the passengers would wait for the train. It was like
Yeah.
a little,
The Grovers live there and the barn is on their property.
isn't that where the mill was?
Yeah, that red mill and stuff like that. You can look at it and see that there's probably a whole lot of history that could be teased out of it. But,
So are we waiting for you to find a date?
no, I was
No,
just looking
she-
for the pictures. But it's,
I think the thing to do is move along.
feel free to move along.
No,
Do what you-
with some kind of a plan to see that something moves forward here. And I have no expertise in certifying bridges, but I care, but I can't pick up the mantle and run with it here.
I wouldn't even know where to start with it. Francis, like, explain the process here a little bit. So who's certifying this as historic? Is it the state?
It would be with the nominating it for the state to be
Okay.
historic, and
So-
then there's various documents
So you
and
gotta get a
other
whole bunch of
things.
crap. Okay.
It's
Is
just
the-
like the stuff you need to do for the
Yeah,
slate roof.
yeah.
Is the other half of the bridge certified?
Yeah, yeah.
So-
half
Wait,
of
so,
it
so
is.
half the bridge is certified, but the
So
other,
it's
that doesn't make any sense.
So
You can't make this stuff
You
up.
can't make this stuff up.
Welcome to New Jersey, folks.
So the thing is that the certification has to happen in order to get the county to put the funds into repairing it?
No, the county will repair it. That's a separate issue. It's the paperwork to have it be declared an historic bridge.
All the other half.
And that's dealing with Maryland and doing what she wants you to do, and she's got all this stuff.
Can I ask a quick
Yeah.
one? So what's the name of this bridge? It's Downstate Tournament Bridge, right?
Well, it's got a number.
All right. So if I was to pull up that number, it's only gonna say this half of the bridge is,
No,
Just
even not
numbers.
even that much. It
so that
probably,
makes sense.
It- Yeah, that,
But like it seems like the bridge is certified already, like. You
the
can't just certify
one
half a bridge,
side
that
of
doesn't make any
it
sense.
is registered for Delaware by Delaware Township
Oh, they just,
Historic. They did it.
It's just a
And
paperwork. thing,
it's just
that's
a
all.
they just did the
paperwork
half,
thing.
of- oh, okay, all right, well, how much is
And-
involved? It's just getting a bunch of stuff together, or-
And I don't know, and I really, quite frankly, at this point in time, no disrespect,
Right.
don't want to get involved in it because I
Yes, I
did
might.
get drawn into it by John.
Yeah.
And then I did have the conversation and then it was like, well, here's what you need to do. And it was like, other things happened in 2020 and 2021. And at this point in time, it's, well, here's things that
Okay,
other people
well, let's just table this,
Yeah.
can do.
talk
Because-
about it next month.
Is there like a hard deadline to get this done by?
No, no, believe me.
We have forever to
It
do
seems a
this.
low priority.
Yeah, it's a low priority and it took 30 years for the quick collection. Bridge could take another
One thing at a
30
time.
years.
That's just a desirable thing to get it on historic register.
Yeah.
The more important thing is to make sure that the repairs are done
And that-
expeditiously.
Yeah, and that I will,
So, does the registration affect how they can repair the bridge, like you would have to? do
No,
some
I
sort
think
of-
it's a separate
no,
issue.
because the county has already committed to restoring historical bridges and stonework, the same way they said they would do stonework on the thing,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Van Loos and all that other stuff.
So, at the end of the day, what is a historic registration actually like? What
It's a
benefit-
pretty
what benefit?
thing that you patch stuff on the backboard.
Okay, so there's really nothing
Yeah,
like.
there is no point to it.
It doesn't add any kind of monetary value to anything or drive anything.
I'm still just like, I can't wrap my head around half of the bridge mixer.
There's over 500.
Bridges like that, really?
Oh, no, bridges. I mean, yeah, bridges and culverts. I've got a disc somewhere.
But
Well, the whole-
that are half registered?
No,
No,
this
no,
is a
no,
one of
no.
a kind. This
Most
is a
of the
one-off.
bridges are entirely in a municipality.
Yeah.
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 So they would either be on the list or ignored.
Like that covered bridge.
So Delaware was just like, screw East Amwell, we're gonna do this ourselves, and
Well,
we're just
they
gonna cut
just
their
did
half.
But then it
that.
really,
I don't
it
know.
doesn't affect us.
Yeah, but like, why, if they're filing the paperwork anyway, just be like, oh yeah, by the way, this is also in East Amwell too, like, you know?
Yeah, it would be nice if we could just copy their paperwork, right? And
Well,
send it in.
And,
You might be onto something.
and I
Probably
think we
online.
could get it and I might have been
It's probably the
sent
same
it
stuff,
at some point in time. But it's, I can, you know, I can look if I was a little less,
Well, is
Frankie.
Marilyn Cummings our Delaware Township contact person?
no. They have their own historical society. Marilyn Cummings is sort of a force of nature. Would you say that that is an accurate description, Paul? Marilyn?
I don't know Marilyn, Francis.
Yeah, remember when they had that reenactment over there in Delaware Township and everybody was all dressed up in pretty historic clothing and things like that? She's a very nice lady. She's just,
Why is her name on the list?
Yeah, what's our relationship?
she was her idea of what we should do.
So wasn't she?
Why doesn't she do it?
He doesn't live in East Amwell, and she thinks we should do it.
Where does she live? Is she from Delaware Township?
Yeah, she lives on Rosemont Ringo Road.
She could just fill out the paperwork and give it to us and we can send it in.
She just gets the report, yeah, exactly, I'll write a little.
I think
cover letter or
we're
something.
tying a couple of things together that would work. One is start with Maryland. That doesn't work. Talk to the historical people in Delaware and see what the paperwork was that went in to get the bridge certified in the first place. And see if we can just plagiarize it, copy it.
Yeah, why not, right? I
I
mean,
mean,
I think
really,
everything's the same, right?
there's nothing secret about this.
No, of course
Just,
not.
just borrow it,
Off it or
and
anything.
tailor it to our own.
Yeah,
our
and
own
she had
town
sent
and-
I think it's something to John, and then she might have sent it.
Would there be two entries in the register for the same bridge?
Yes.
No, it's just two different registers.
No, it would-
Delaware Township Register and East Alamo Township.
Except for with the county, the bridge is ED and a certain number. that I don't
Do
remember.
they have a historic registry also?
Not for bridges. no.
Well, then we don't, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like
This is,
where would this be registered, with the state or with?
Yeah, SHPO probably.
So then they would have two entries for the same bridge.
you got it. I think that's,
What the hell these people do?
That's.
do we
stupid.
really care at this point?
Yeah. Newmarket slash, keep going.
Come on, New
Yeah.
Market, Lindale
Yeah,
Art
yeah.
Historic District. What's going on with that?
Moving on
Yeah.
to item D. Anybody know anything about it?
Yeah,
Is this the,
Is this
Property.
this is the meeting that we went over to. This is the bridge.
I thought that was,
Oh, no, the New Market Linvale,
Yeah.
right.
That's the
It's-
new buildings that the guy put up.
The guy put up, and we have no idea yet on what the impact on the historical district is. I did hear informally that there was cease and desist stop work order put on him, and he will get no final inspections. But he needs to come to the township for a variance because he just went on and destroyed things that are in that historic district inventory, one brick at a time, and in the added buildings.
yeah, I know he came to the last, not this most recent, but the June planning board meeting, the guy who owns. the
Yeah, because he
property.
was watching
That's what
on
we're talking about,
television when
yeah.
I was talking about it, and then he came down the hill and he said it
Yeah.
was all a misunderstanding.
Yeah, but it seemed that they were, he was, getting in touch with them because they wanted to resolve, he wanted to resolve everything.
Right, and he didn't.
Okay, so,
As of the last planning board meeting, he didn't.
okay, so they're,
So we really are only merely observers at this
yeah.
point.
that's
We're
fine.
observers, there's nothing we
Zoning
can
board
do, and it's just a matter, I think John Allen got pulled into it to decide, well, what's the impact on having the buildings that formed the historic district replaced by, different function and different metal buildings and an extra one. But where that does tie a little bit is tomorrow night is the approval in West Amwell
Oh, yeah.
of, they identified from the road that's down there by Linvale, what is it, Woods Road or something like that? Woodsville Road, all the way down to Merrick, as an area in need of redevelopment. And they issued a study, and they've got a plan that's gonna get improved to turn that into an area for redevelopment without identifying a redeveloper, although the mayor recused himself because he's buying the mini golf course. And he's more than likely going to be the
No,
redeveloper.
wait a minute now. Woodsville Road was not what we talked about in the past. They were talking about redeveloping Route 31
And
between.
all from between Woodsville Road and all the way down to Merrick's. That little road that goes off at an angle.
That's
That's
Woodville.
Wood
That's right there.
on our side, but on the other side of the road, East Amwell continues down Woodsville Road.
I understand
One
that.
side,
That's the middle of Linville. Where the Woodsville Road intersects Route 31.
it's about a house and a half down the road.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
That's Linville.
Essentially.
Essentially Linvale.
And not Woodsville Road, but
There's properties on Woodsville Road and including the New Market Tavern, which is that yellow building across the street.
so, okay, the
From-
redevelopment goes beyond the intersection of Woodsville Road down Woodsville Road.
A couple houses. It goes all the way from essentially Woodsville, past 579, down past to Merrick's, almost to where you would go,
Rocktown.
not to Rocktown, but
Towards.
before it. And turning all of that into an area for redevelopments. And they've written an ordinance that they're gonna improve that basically says you don't need variances, you could do this, you can have very intensive, up to 67% density, plus an extra 10% and a whole bunch of other things.
Now, we talked about this last month.
I'm sorry to interrupt. So from Rocktown to Linvale? I'm trying
South,
to
south of
see this in my mind.
Rocktown,
There's
all
like
the way to
31.
Linville, where Woodsville Road.
See, down here,
Yeah, we're up there. What we got.
yeah, but see here, that's Linvale Road. This is the road I'm talking about.
So it's from this one up
From
or south?
here, about a couple inches out, all the way down, almost to Rocktown, and it goes over. It's like behind
Oh.
Krista's
Okay.
and along. And so what the mayor wants to buy is the little golf course.
Yeah.
And
that's
put an
right.
Amazon warehouse in the back and take the diner because that would be the access to it for 22 bays in and 22 bays out of a big giant industrial warehouse.
Now, we're almost powerless to really have any influence here. aren't we?
Unless people show up tomorrow night at West Amwell and say something, and I believe some people are going to. I know one that will. But it's just,
Just make noise is about all you can do, because
well, I'm
We legally-
surprised.
can't,
Unless-
Government can do whatever the hell they want to whomever the hell they want to.
well, we're talking about West Amwell.
Yes,
And we are
and the
East
impact
Amwell.
is going to be on the people who are across that little road in
Right.
East Amwell.
This I'm not sure about, but being that it's an inter-municipality conflict essentially. Would the residents on the East Amwell side of 31 have to be notified as they would like if it was any kind of zoning variance or any other kind of land use?
I think so, but I don't know. I know Krista was notified because it was within 200 feet. Now is
Well, she lives in
31
West
there, 200 feet away.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were notified.
I mean, theoretically, they would, if they're like, legally recognized interested parties, I mean, they could take them to court if they wanted to. I mean, anybody could take them to court, but they would
Well,
actually have to.
Yeah,
A little
I
bit
mean,
there.
there's all sorts of things that could happen. But most, I don't know, it's been my cynical observation is the people are perfectly willing to let you go out there and fight their fights for it.
Well, I think I said this, did I not say this last one when we talked about this? That this is on the backside of West Amwell Township.
Yeah,
It affects them very little.
especially the
The
mayor.
quality of life and the aesthetics of their community.
Yeah.
And it's right in our
Front
front
yard.
yard, so to speak.
And
And,
yeah.
once it's approved, you can't unapprove. So,
And they're approving not only growing, manufacturing, distributing, all possible forms of marijuana is built into this. So they could be, and
I
the
don't
amount
think
of water and all that.
that
other
really
stuff.
is no different from any other development in today's culture.
Except that the cannabis growing operations, manufacturing, they use tremendous amounts of water, and they have a certain all-encompassing aroma that tends to cross highways. And the one that's going on over
Just for
there
cigarettes.
on 22, they're limited to, I think, 30% of their capacity because of things. So it will affect the residents of East Amwell, depending on what they put over there. It could affect their wells, especially since a lot of this is all in the Sourlands. I have no idea where the Sourlands has been. But that's.
It's pretty much up to individuals, I guess, if they want to attend.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go to at least
Yeah,
see what's going on. I mean, I can hear a lot about it, but I don't know exactly.
I'll be going and I'll be videotaping it. And I will have something to say, because I always have something to say.
We wouldn't have it any other way.
And
Okay,
hold my home.
thank you, Francis. Anything further on item C?
You mean this was D, New Market Linvale?
We did
The,
D and E,
we went to, yeah.
D&L, okay.
Crosswalk.
Yeah, we did.
and now we have another bridge.
We did D&E. And I think this 9A is probably Van Loo's.
Yeah, it's Van Loo's, Backbrook.
You understand, you got that?
I typed it in as Francis typed it in.
Just so you know, because you prepared the agenda.
Yeah, how do you spell it?
It's Van Loo's.
Two
V-A-N-L-I-E-U.
words, capital B-A-N, then L-I-E-W-S.
Okay.
It's L-I-E-U-S.
Yes. Yeah. It's, to be fair, it's very hard to spell. And I put like right next to it.
Just for your.
Dot
Fix it. Thank you.
When I saw this, I said, well, it's gotta be Van,
Yeah, it is.
because we don't have any Loo's standing alone around here. So what do we need to do with this bridge?
Well, the SHPO has decided it is not historically significant, so they've signed off on it. The county says that it is, because it's a one lane and it's very old, it's substandard, they've got a $5 word for it. And so they're gonna replace it with the 2-lane truss bridge and widen the road in 2 directions towards it. In other words, facilitate move and flow of traffic. They were very nice about it. And there were residents that were at the meetings and we were all looking at the plans. But was there any willingness of anybody from the township to ask them to come? I know I
Yeah.
raised it.
Terry, I got an email from Terry yesterday.
So they're gonna come and talk to East Ammo
Yeah,
in
they're
September?
gonna, basically, I forget. I mean, there's no historic locations for it, luckily.
Just quality of life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna, my mind, just because my dogs, I'm gonna ask them to put a stop sign coming down the hill.
3 ways.
Yeah,
There should
well,
be
3-way
3,
stop, but
yeah.
if not 3-way, absolutely one coming down the hill, because that's where it's
Which hill?
the bigger one coming from Wordston.
Well, they'll put, the sense I got from Tom Matthews was, if we want 3 and we're willing to say put 3, they will accommodate us because that would save them some paperwork on their speeding kind of thing, so that they would not fight that.
Good.
They're gonna be raising the grade on Backbrook that's right there because of the floods. It's also a school bus stop. That'll be lovely. You know, to approve that. And, you know, it
Well,
seemed like the
our-
residents were not that much against it. They seemed to accept
Yeah.
what was what, when it was discussed last Thursday.
Our
mayor was-
responsibility is focus on the historic value of the bridge, as to whether or not,
It
You
has
wanted-
none.
well, then don't we just back away and let the county do what they need to do? I mean,
No, well, as a historical preservation committee, yes. As residents, no. And my understanding from what statements were made last week is that there's going to be an effort by the mayor to stop the bridge. He was saying, oh no, this has to be stopped and all that.
well, this is fine, but this is not our,
Yeah,
It's not our responsibility. It's
that's
just
all I'm saying, just so we can,
move on, do whatever you want to do.
because if there is no leverage to hold off because it's been declared historic,
No,
then we really don't have any issue.
we have no administrative obligation or ability to do anything about it.
Okay,
just to close the loop on it, Tara. Yeah, county wants to have a little, just informal meeting with like township committee and then public. So that's where we're at.
With the public,
First township committee, then public. Gonna have a Zoom call with us.
because remember, there
Public
was
in September.
only a short window where
Yeah,
people
I
could
know.
comment.
I know, that's how I want to do that.
so So there still is an issue as to whether this is gonna go or not.
It's gonna happen, it's just, what can we, like, include as they're doing?
Now, this item 10, I'll share with you what John called me tonight. And he says, we don't have enough, we here.
Yeah.
Don't have enough information about this variance.
I mean, if this is all I have, like,
36 South
What do you
South
do,
Road, block
Which
33, lot
means
4.
nothing.
it's just the cover sheet.
And we don't have any details whatsoever. So we'd be a fool to address this issue without knowing what we're talking about.
I agree.
I don't even know how we got this cover sheet.
Krista
Krista.
forwarded it to me, just the one sheet, and then I put it on.
And this is
That's all
what
I
John
have.
said to me. He says, we don't have enough information.
Yeah,
His
we don't have
recommend-
any information.
And so he says, we'll table this until we have the information.
Yeah,
If we can't even comment on this.
correct.
This may be of no historic value at all, but we don't know that.
No, we don't know.
I think John would be able to, he's on planning board. I think he'd have access to the application.
Oh, no, it's all Krista. Krista has-
Now, I don't know whether block 33, lot 4 is in a historic district.
No, South Shop Road is not.
Well, then,
It's on the border between the Sourlands and the valley,
It's 36
depending
South.
on what
I'm
side.
Yeah, where is this?
Between
gonna pull up Google Street View.
Rosemont. Estimate is $1 million. I think there is a big house sold for $925.
That's a big house.
Yeah, it's a big house.
Yeah, but it's also got some land.
well, there's nothing we can do with this.
No, it's got nothing to do with us.
13.3 acres.
I would, unless you're told otherwise,
Built in 1997.
defer this to next month. Talk to John
Maybe to a-
Oh, yeah, this is just like a modern, well,
and see if
they got like an
we-
old
if
barn,
we,
but that's about it.
if they really want us to do anything,
Depends on what they want to do.
we have to have information.
Should I ask Krista if she has any more information she can share?
I mean, you can, the only problem is, that so they're,
Going for a variance, which means there's something about it.
well, they're gonna have the variance hearing like, what, the second
September,
second
right?
Wednesday of September, whatever date that is.
So the
which
ship is
before-
sailed, even if it was applicable to us.
Yeah, but from what I'm seeing, there's really nothing, I mean, it might have been like a previous, might have been like a restored and like redone historical home. I mean, this is a picture of it, if you wanna see it.
Futterman, yeah.
It looks like it could have been like a historic, not historic, but you know, an older home at one point in time, and they put additions on it. So came across the radar, and they got the old barn back here too. Try to get a street.
Whether it's gonna be whether or not it's a use variance or bulk variance, but I think it's got a lot of acreage, so. it
If the
should be-
planning board is going to already have decided this,
It
when we
doesn't
meet
even know
again.
to be, yeah.
then
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, I guess there's nothing stopping you as individuals from submitting comments on it, if it so desire. You know, it's a public hearing, anyone's welcome to comment, but if
But I
it's,
don't have any information.
but if you don't have anything about it,
It just
Well, you have to-
goes to the larger long-term issue of how information is processed and passed along.
well, anyway,
Yeah.
or
if we
not.
really cared, we could go to the office when it's open
exactly,
and ask to look at.
yeah. Based, yeah,
Application.
based on what I'm seeing, it doesn't really seem, you know, it's not like they're redoing the Longfellow's house or something.
No,
Not the
it's
Long,
probably
Oddfellows, not
used.
Longfellows, I don't know.
Are there, is there anything you wanted to share with us, Greg?
No, nothing beyond what I've already brought up.
You're very thoughtful,
I try,
very kind.
my pleasure,
Because some of us would like to go home.
myself included.
Do we have any vouchers? No. I'll entertain a motion recognizing recognizing there's no public presence.
I'll second that.
Or you have to make it. I
I'll
can't.
make it.
A second.
Made and seconded. Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. there any correspondence we need to address tonight?
Huh?
Renee, any correspondence? She's also very kind. She wants to come home
She
too.
tries.
Paul, how you doing out there?
I'm doing all right. Thanks, Will.
I couldn't.
He's already at home, that's why.
That's true.
I think he's out there somewhere. I wasn't watching. Did he stay awake?
He did, yes.
Pretty much.
Well done, Paul.
Thank you. Thanks.
How about a motion to adjourn?
One last thing is if anybody wants to kick in for Lauren, if you don't have money on you now, tell me and I'll front the money and get it printed later.
I got some money in the car, I gave it away.
Yeah.
I don't have any money, but I can make a copy.
Venmo.
Yeah, you have Venmo, Francis?
I have Zelle. I don't know, Venmo might work. I don't know.
PayPal?
PayPal I do.
Okay, I'll PayPal you some money.
Francis, I can do that too if PayPal works.
You can do that.
I pay everything with Venmo.
We can deal with this after we adjourn.
I move the adjourn.
I second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
We
Aye.
are adjourned.
Yeah, I never carry cash with me.
Yeah, I'm always afraid I'm gonna get like.
I
robbed or
do.
something, So.
No, that's not why. I just like, I don't know. I just almost never have cash.
Well, that and like, when you have it on, you're like, oh, I. can spend it.
Well, then, yeah, that's the other
You
thing.
don't have
Somewhere
it,
in
it's
the
on.
minutes,
It's so easy now to like.
mention I shared the meeting, just for the record.
Yeah, I say that, but yet I like, I use my phone for as my.
I think every meeting
What are you gonna get her?
should state who's chairing the
Cash.
meeting, even when it's the regular chair.
Oh, we're gonna give her just more.
I'm
cash.
just
Sometimes-
giving her cash.
It just says,
I don't know what
Amazon
you.
gift card.
like you call the
It's
meeting
not
to
Amazon.
order,
not
whatever.
The thing is, if you give somebody cash,
Just a thought.
they can
I'll
do
add
with
it.
It's
it
not
what
an
they
ego trip.
want
That's true.
and not be left with $1.
Good night, Paul.
Left
Take
over.
care, folks. Thanks, Will.
I like your
She will-
jammies.
she
They-
will appreciate
I'm still in my shirt. My jammies are next.
Yours is in
it.
color.
She did a very, very good job.
See ya.
Bye, Paul.
Bye.